The NyQuil chicken challenge on TikTok, the PUB audit will be released today. BISD incumbents talk about raises right before elections, and WELLCARE will no longer be accepted at Valley Baptist. It is Wednesday, September 21st, 7:14 a.m. My name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Now, keeping up with pop culture, as we all know, we are easily influenced by what is going on throughout social media, especially our youth. We have seen how TikTok has been a staple in their everyday lives. We have seen how young teens have taken part in these different challenges throughout time, and I'm sure you have heard of some of them. The Tide Pod Challenge, where individuals ate as many Tide Pods as possible. You and I can agree that even though some things are a little strange and weird, for whatever reason, our youth nowadays are easily influenced and pick up on these things. Well, now it seems as if it is getting a little bit more dangerous. The FDA just recently announced that individuals were picking up on a trend with NyQuil. Now, you and I could agree that this does not look healthy, and there is a challenge going on TikTok where individuals will pour NyQuil on the chicken, cook it, wait for it to turn, green slash blue, and then it's ready, to eat. Now, you may want to talk to your loved one, to your child, just to make sure that they are aware of these things. Like I said, these teenagers, either for clout, for likes, for shares, just for views, possibly, might be doing things that eventually harm themselves. And again, few years ago, the thing was the Tide Pod challenge. Individuals would eat Tide Pods, and eventually, they would end up in the emergency room. Well, now they're resorting to something else. So if you do have a teenager, you may want to talk to them about this that is going on. The FDA, did put out a bulletin and say, please avoid this because we see this trend going on, and this is very, very dangerous. But again, this is something that our youth are exposed to on a daily basis, especially now with TikTok, which seems to be one of the most used platforms for the teenagers today. Now, a lot has been going on within BISD, and you and I can agree. It seems as if there's a lot of turmoil from morale being low amongst the employees and staff to the low amount of enrollment that BISD has seen throughout the years. And each year we have seen how the likes of charter schools, IDEA, private schools, they've been stealing the numbers of enrollment at BISD. And one thing that we have seen has been how the current board does not seem to be in tune with the different things that are going on. Just recently, they did announce that they were going to raise taxes. It wasn't until somebody advised one of the board members, said, hey, delay. This is not a good look right before election. Why? Because you always want to try and make sure that your candidate is well equipped, well versed, well prepared for the election. Well, it seems as if the board members are using the salary increase as the tool for them to get votes, and we know how this goes. Unfortunately, they seem to waddle that piece of meat if we're hungry and say, "Hey, you want this? Well, if I give it to you, make sure you remember me. Make sure you vote for me." It's the world we live in. Unfortunately, what have you done for me lately? And with all the turmoil that we find ourselves in, with the inflation, with high rent, high mortgages, it seems as if the board members seem to use this to their advantage. Now, one issue that has been brought up has been the salary increase. Individuals, and just yesterday I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he did state frankly, it is not right for an individual who has had 30 plus years within the district for them to receive a small minimal raise of a few cents compared to individuals who have no experience, brand new on the job, and they get a starting pay of $15. Now, there we should make sure that our employees that have tenure, that have experience, that have time, for them to be compensated adequately. We can all agree to that. But one thing that does bother me, it seems as if that salary increase is something that is always done right before election. Best recently had a town hall meeting of their three candidates, and one candidate that makes me scratch my head and say, "Why her?" is none other than Drew Brown. Drew Brown is currently running in place one. One thing that we should not forget is that this individual has been within the district for many years. She served as the public information officer for 20 to 30 plus years in the district. She recently retired, and she was Sylvia Atkinson's candidate. She was successful in her bid for BISD. But what we have seen throughout her time on the board has been has left us with a lot of questions. We recently learned earlier this year that her husband and son were making money. They were commentating on, or have been commentating for years, on a sporting event at the aquatic center, on swimming meets. And one thing that we found was that there was no conflict of interest that was reported on the behalf of the board member, Drew Brown. Now, while individuals have stated and said, oh, it was only a couple $100s that they were taking, that they were receiving from the district, nonetheless, if we have a board member that has a certain relationship with either vendors, with employees, it is necessary for her or for that board member to report it. Now, again, while it is a few couple $100, it is the intent. Now, is this illegal for Ms. Brown? She did read a statement during one of the BISD board meetings in which she said that, oh, I didn't realize that this was a conflict of interest, and I did advise O'Hanlon, the school attorneys, what was going on. But nonetheless, this is an individual who has had a close relationship with Sylvia Atkinson. She has not got on the record and stated, you know what this individual did was wrong. I had nothing to do with her. I just want to state it out on the record, and just to avoid any confusion. And you know how it goes. Whenever individuals do not address a certain issue, what happens to us? We think, oh, well, then she must be guilty. She must be hiding something. Why? Because she's not talking about this. If an individual does not squash something, the moment it becomes out in public, what happens? It is wildfire. It leads us to question and say, what is her motive? Is she loyal to Sylvia Atkinson? Is this someone that we want on the board? Again, BISD board members are using the salary step increase right before election time. Why did they think about this earlier? Why is this something that is always brought up right before election time? For place one, we should think and heavily consider candidates who will be upfront with our community, who will be vocal, and who always have an opportunity for us to hear from them. The only candidate that has made himself available is Elizondo, when he previously was on the board and in his previous quest to run for the district. It is something that I encourage my community to question. Why hasn't Drew Brown made a statement on the Sylvia Atkinson ordeal? She was heavily involved with her during the insurance contracts, the insurance committee for BISD, which we all know is very, very lucrative. She has not put a stop to that and said, hey, I had nothing to do with Sylvia Atkinson. But it just leads us to believe that there is a little bit more out there if she hasn't squashed that beef. The only individual who will be upfront with our community is Carlos Elizondo. I highly recommend uh, for you to consider him come November the 8th on Election Day. Now, one thing, a pressing issue that we have all been waiting for has been the PUB audit. It is something that every individual, whether rich or poor, is feeling the effects from. And you and I can agree something's got to give, whatever reason. And one thing that I want to start off this segment with is I want my community to ask the city commission. They are the only ones that can have a change in the charter. What is your stance on PUB? Are you willing to sit down and change the charter and allow for competition to come into the market? This would allow competitive rates to be offered to the community. That is a very important question that we must ask these board members, these commissioners, I'm sorry, the city commissioners. Are you willing to allow for competition to come into the market? Yes or no? And we are starting to see how disconnection letters are starting to flow. Individuals are having to make that tough decision. Do I pay my mortgage? Do I pay for my medicine? Or do I pay for my light bill? You and I can agree that these light bills have grown exponentially, and individuals, it feels as if they are paying a second mortgage. We have seen the statements of $400, $500, $600, $700. I've seen as much as $1,300 for a business. This is a very pressing issue. And Mayor Mendez recently posted his statement on the internet. And one thing that a viewer sent in was, haven't you noticed how his previous statement only went up $18 while everyone else has been going up a couple $100, if not more? Now, while we encourage our mayor to continue being transparent, it is important for us to get to the thick of things. What is going to happen with PUB? Are we going to open the market? Yes or no? Just yesterday, representatives from PUB did speak at the city commission, and one thing they stated was, the general manager was, I want the people to know that we understand their struggle, we understand what they're going through. And I said, no, you don't. You guys are, you guys make hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to my people who lived on fixed income. But nonetheless, the reasons that they gave um, yesterday regarding the high rate of electricity prices, they did present an analysis of the reasons behind it. And the three reasons that they gave was the summer heat. A lot more consumption is used during the summer because everyone's home and it's hot outside. High fuel costs, throughout the nation. We have seen how natural gas prices have gone up 70% according to PUB, and also the rate adjustments that a reduction of the electric base rates have dipped from 11%, and new water and water rates and resaca fees starting to go into effect this past summer. But again, the question remains, why are we getting screwed, it seems? Why are we paying so much? And we understand that everywhere else throughout the U.S. has seen an increase in electricity rates. What separates Brownsville is that we did not have. We are the only ones that were taken for $100+ million with the Tenasca deal, and that is something that we have been anxiously waiting for. This audit, this forensic audit that will be presented today to the oversight committee, and we want to know what lies in those details. Will we finally find out what happened to that money? Is there money in saved reserve that will be given credit to the community so we can have some sort of relief? Because at the end of the day, that is all we're seeking, is some sort of relief, some sort of guarantee that, we are working diligently and this is what happened with the money, and this will be credit to you throughout time. I think you and I can agree something's got to give with PUB. We should encourage our city commission and put them on the record and ask them, what's your stance on PUB? Are you willing to allow for a competitor to come into the market? Are you willing to change the charter? Yes or no? Well, today is the first day on our quest for change. Today we'll finally get a little bit more insight, a draft of the forensic audit will be presented to the oversight committee. What details are there? Is there something criminal in nature? Stay tuned. Only time will tell. Now, as we all know, uh, healthcare coverage is very, very important. Uh, Nowadays, it is vital to our everyday lives. It is not no longer a luxury, and we do have the Affordable Care Act that was presented by President Obama and his administration, which the idea behind that was to provide individuals who didn't have access to healthcare coverage at an affordable rate. And you and I can agree, uh, after COVID, with all these new viruses, illnesses that have been going on, many individuals have been a lot more considerate about their health. Now, recently, that I entered into the insurance world, I realized how much of an impact I can have on my community by providing education regarding healthcare coverage. And that is something that, growing up, I have seen from my family. They have always been there for the community. And that is one asset that I can bring uh, to my community regarding healthcare coverage. It is very, very important for us to make sure that we know what options are available to us. Well, I am here to report that there is a possibility, a strong possibility. It hasn't been set in stone, but at the rate we're going, that Valley Baptist, which serves hundreds of thousands of patients here in the city of Brownsville, in the downtown area, or in the city of Brownsville, also in Harlingen, Valley Baptist will no longer be accepting the WellCare plan. Now, there are different carriers that are available to us, whether that be in the open market or with our agents. But one thing that I want to convey to my community is, if you are someone or you have a loved one that is constantly in and out of the hospital, and if they frequent Valley Baptist and they are recipients of this WellCare coverage, you may want to consider um, seeing what options are available. We did get word that Valley Baptist, and I'll blow this up very quickly and I'll read it very quickly. And it did state, we are reaching out to you because of a possible network disruption that could threaten your client's access to the market and its products. The Centene Corporation, aka WellCare, they have noticed that a significant number of clients of rate reduction that will have a negative consequence on services and patient care. And one thing, the carriers that will be affected from this will be WellCare, Superior Health Plan, Ambetter from Superior Health Plan, WellCare, and WellCare by Allwell. Now, it is important for me as an agent to relate to my community and state that if you or your loved one is currently right now enrolled in a WellCare plan and they frequent Valley Baptist, whether here in Brownsville or in the city of Harlingen, they may have disruptions to their coverage, to their attention that they receive. Now, once again, obtaining healthcare coverage is very, very vital. It's very, very important. Nowadays is an essential for us to make sure that we have healthcare. We live in a time of day where we just don't know. In the blink of an eye, something can happen to us. And if we don't have healthcare coverage, that is something that we could be affected by. Now, if individuals, if you or your loved ones do have current Medicare and are seeking different options, make sure you reach out. I will be more than willing to sit down and talk about the different options that are available for this upcoming year. We do have a few weeks to lock in. Again, every case is different and every client's needs is different, but there is a possibility for us to get you into a plan for you or your loved ones if they qualify, um, whether you have Medicare or we can find an affordable care plan in the marketplace through Obamacare for healthcare coverage for you or your loved one. Again, healthcare coverage is very, very vital and important. And for me as an agent to hear that Valley Baptist, which serves hundreds of thousands of patients here in Brownsville and in Harlingen that they will not have this agreement anymore with WellCare. This is going to affect the lives of many patients. I am reaching out to my community. I am here to offer myself to you. And again, the most important thing about this is to know the opportunities available. My job is to educate my clients in regards to what plan best fits their needs. And it bothered me whenever I found out that Valley Baptist, again, that is a staple here in the city of Brownsville, that serves hundreds of thousands of patients, that they will not be accepting at the rate that this is going. And again, it hasn't been signed, set in stone, but at the rate that we're going, that Valley Baptist will no longer accept WellCare plans. That led me to be concerned, because there is a significant importance for us to be able to have access to healthcare. If you or your loved one do have WellCare, reach out to me. We can start talking about the plans for 2023 starting October 1st. So if you or your loved one do have WellCare, do have Medicare, and do frequent Valley Baptist, reach out to me. I am here to assist my community. Also, for those individuals who are new to Medicare, who are turning 65, or for some sort of reason apply to receive disability. The interesting to note is that through Medicare Advantage plans, you do have access to hospital, doctor's visits, prescription, dentist. You have access to go see an eye doctor as well. There are many great plans available. And I want my community to know that I'm here to serve my community and offer and educate on the different options available to you or your loved ones. So make sure you reach out to me for any questions or concerns that you may have. And once again, WellCare, if you frequent the hospital, Valley Baptist, either here in Browns or in the city of Harlingen, that you will have a disruption in your coverage. And as you all know, having healthcare is vital, is an essential necessity nowadays. Why? Because at the rate we're going with COVID, with all these different viruses, we just don't know. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. The NyQuil Chicken Challenge. Make sure you talk to your loved ones on TikTok. The new trend is that you pour NyQuil on chicken, you cook it, and then you eat it. As sick as you may think that sounds, our teenagers are doing that, unfortunately. So make sure you talk to your loved ones. The FDA are warning parents regarding the severities of this act. PUB draft will be released today and will be presented to the Oversight and Audit Committee. What juicy details lie in that audit? Will heads roll? Only time will tell. Stay tuned. The BISD incumbents, they talk about raises right before the election. It seems as if Drew Brown has not got on the record and distanced herself from Sylvia Atkinson. We have seen how she's had closeness to her. She was the one that ultimately encouraged her to run, but she has never gone on the record and said, you know what? I have nothing to do with that woman, unfortunately. For place one, BISD, Carlos Elizondo is a person to vote for. And WellCare will no longer be accepted at Valley Baptist. There is going to be disruption in healthcare coverage and services for patients who do have WellCare. If you or your loved one have WellCare, please reach out to me. That way we can talk about the different options that are available moving forward. Starting October 1st, we can start talking. October 1st, we can start talking about the different plan and coverages that will be offered for 2023. And maybe, just maybe, we can select a plan for you that will not disrupt your access to healthcare coverage moving forward. It is Wednesday, September 21st, 7:38 a.m. Thank you so much for your time and your patience. I hope to see you here on Friday. God bless.